Ungathanda usishaya uyiphoyisa ungazi umthetho. Akekho umuntu okushayile wena kodwa manje unoshaya. Wena ukugada wena. Kurini bona
740 guns owned by the SAPS have been confirmed to have been lost in the last financial year. Don't know where they've gone.
The South African Police Service, SAPS, is the national police force of the Republic of South Africa. Its 1,154 police stations in South Africa are divided according to the provincial borders, and a provincial commissioner is appointed in each province. The 9 provincial commissioners report directly to the national commissioner. The Constitution of South Africa lays down that the South African Police Service has a responsibility to prevent, combat and investigate crime, maintain public order, protect and secure the inhabitants of the Republic and their property, uphold and enforce the law, create a safe and secure environment for all people in South Africa, investigate any crime that threatens the safety and security of any community, ensure criminals are brought to justice, and participate in efforts to address the cause of crime. However, the Amnesty International and others have expressed serious concerns about South African police brutality, including torture, extrajudicial killings, and bribery. The South African Police Service traces its origins to the Dutch Watch, a paramilitary organization formed by settlers in the Cape Province in 1655 to protect civilians and maintain law and order. In 1795, British officials assumed control over the Dutch Watch and in 1825 established the Cape Constabulary, which became the Cape Town Police Force in 1840. In 1854, a police force was established in Durban, which would become the Durban Borough Police, and in 1935, the Durban City Police, DCP. Act 3 of 1855 established the Frontier Armed and Mounted Police Force in the Eastern Cape, restyled as the Cape Mounted Riflemen in 1878. The South African Police, SAP, was created after the establishment of the Union of South Africa in 1913. 4 years later, the Mounted Riflemen's Association relinquished its civilian responsibilities to the SAP as most of its riflemen left to serve in the First World War. The SAP and the military maintained a close relationship even after the SAP assumed permanent responsibility for domestic law and order in 1926. Police officials often called on the army for support in case of emergencies. During the Second World War, one SAP brigade served with the 2nd Infantry Division of the South African Army in North Africa. When the National Party, NP, edged out its more liberal opponents in the nationwide elections in 1948, the new government enacted legislation that strengthened the relationship between the police and the military. Police subsequently became heavily armed, especially when facing unruly and hostile crowds. The Police Act No. 7 of 1958 broadened the mission of the SAP beyond conventional police functions and allowed police to quell civil unrest and conduct counterinsurgency operations. The Police Amendment Act No. 70 of 1965 allowed police to detain any person, receptacle, vehicle, aircraft or premise within 1 mile of any national border and to seize anything found without a warrant. This search and seize zone was extended to within 8 miles of any border in 1979 and to the entire country in 1983. After the end of apartheid, the South African Police was renamed the South African Police Service, SAPS, and the Ministry of Law and Order was renamed the Ministry of Safety and Security. In keeping with these symbolic reforms, the new Minister of Safety and Security, Sidney Mufamadi, obtained police training assistance from Zimbabwe and the United Kingdom and Canada, and proclaimed that racial tolerance and human rights would be central to police training in the future. By the end of 1995, the SAPS had incorporated the 10 police agencies of former homelands and had reorganized at both national and provincial level. The current ranking system of the South African Police Service was adopted in April 2010. The change caused some controversy as new ranks like General and Colonel have a military connotation. Furthermore, the new rank system mirrors the system used by the South African Police during the apartheid era. In 2009, Deputy Minister of Police Fikile Mbalula spoke of making the police a paramilitary force by changing the SAPS ranking system so that it would closely mirror the military ranking system. This created a significant amount of controversy from the people critical of what they called the militarization of the police. The ranking system was amended in 2016. The role of Regional Police Commissioner was introduced with the rank of Lieutenant General. The major and lieutenant ranks were eliminated, with lieutenants assuming the ranks of captain and majors assuming the ranks of lieutenant colonel. South African Police Service headquarters in Pretoria is organized into 6 divisions: the Crime Combating Investigation Division, the Visible Policing Division, the Internal Stability Division, the Community Relations Division, the Supporting Services Division, and the Human Resources Management Division. The Crime Combating Investigation Division holds overall responsibility for coordinating crime and investigative procedures. It administers the Criminal Records, Commercial Crime Unit, Diamond and Gold Branch, Narcotics Bureau, Stock Theft Unit, the Inspectorate for Explosive, Murder and Robbery Unit located in each major city, and Vehicle Theft Unit throughout the country. In addition, the division manages the National Bureau of Missing Persons, which was established in late 1994. The Visible Policing Division manages highly public police operations, such as guarding senior government officials and dignitaries. Most government residents are guarded by the members of the Division Special Guard Unit. The division's all-volunteer special task forces handle hostage situations and other high-risk activities. The Internal Stability Division is responsible for preventing and quelling internal unrest and for assisting other divisions in combating crime. The Community Relations Division consults with all police divisions concerning accountability and respect for human rights. The Supporting Service Division manages financial, legal, and administrative matters. There is also a large reserve division. Since the departure of Democratic South Africa's first National Commissioner, George Fivas, in January 2000, a number of successive commissioners have been unable to complete a single term in office, most implicated in and charged with misconduct. The distribution of personnel has been controversial, with local legislators questioning why areas most in need of policing resources are being neglected. The department was criticized by Western Cape government for providing lowest number personnel adjusted for population, with a shortage of 2,392 officers, despite having the highest murder rate. This has been the subject of the Khayelitsha Commission. Amnesty International has expressed concerns about police brutality, including torture and extrajudicial killings in South Africa. There has also been concerns about brutal training methods for the police. According to Peter Jody from the Wirtz Law Clinic, police torture is spiraling out of control. It is happening everywhere. Brandon Edmonds argues that the cops prey on the poor in this country. Independent studies have confirmed that the SAPS have been used to repress peaceful marches. In April 2009, the SAPS attempted to ban Unfreedom Day and was implicated in support for September 2009 ANC mob that attacked the elected leadership of the Shek settlement at Kennedy Road, Durban. Police officers have also been accused of excessive policing in Blikkiesdorp in Delft, Cape Town, by suppression of freedom and ordering illegal curfews. 630 police officers from Gauteng province were arrested in 2011 for fraud and corruption, but also rape and murder. In April 2012, editorial in The Times opined, "It seems torture and outright violation of human rights is becoming the order of the day for some of our police officers, and experts warn that the lines between criminals and our law enforcement officers is blurred." In February 2013, police in Davidson, Gauteng were caught on video brutalizing Medio Mashia, a Mozambican taxi driver accused of parking illegally. Mashia was handcuffed to a police van and dragged through the streets, later succumbing to his injuries. 8 police officers were arrested and later convicted of murder. 3 police officers were arrested for the controversial shooting of Nathaniel, a 16-year-old boy with Down syndrome, in El Dorado Park. The Marikana Massacre was a mass shooting that occurred when police broke up a gathering by striking lawnmen workers on a Kopi hilltop near the Nkaneng Shek settlement in Marikana on 16 August 2012. 34 miners were killed and 78 miners injured, causing anger and public outcry, fueled by reports that most of the victims were shot from behind and many shot far from police line. It later emerged that the violence had actually started on 11 August when leaders from the National Union mine workers opened fire on striking NUM members, killing 2. It is alleged that the police did nothing in the aftermath, thereby creating a situation in which workers felt that they would have to use other means to protect themselves. Between 12 and 14 August, approximately 8 more people were killed, including 2 policemen and 2 security guards. It is the country's deadliest incident between police and civilian population since the Shameful massacre of 1960 and has been referred to as a turning point in post-1994 South Africa.
Bafowethu utshwala beyekwe iphoyisa leli nasi isibhamu ngilishutha lidakiwe bukani nasi isibhamu ngiyasithinta nokusithinta lidakiwe iphoyisa bukani nasi isibhamu sephoyisa nasi ngingasithatha nokusithatha nali mina isibhamu sakho ndoda mina isibhamu sakho.
In February 2011, Bekicele was implicated in unlawful conduct and maladministration with a 500 million lease agreement for the new police headquarters in Pretoria. In October 2011, President Jacob Zuma announced that Cele had been suspended pending an investigation into the agreement. After recommendation from a board of inquiry, Zuma dismissed Cele and announced that Ria Piecha, the first female commissioner, would replace him. In February 2018, SAPS Lieutenant General Khomotso Phahlane, who was also former acting SAPS Commissioner, and his wife appeared in the court on charges of fraud and corruption. On 30 July 2020, Phahlane was dismissed from the police after 3 years on suspension. The same day, he was found guilty of dishonest conduct. On July 12, 2019, it was announced the 5 Northwest police officers were arrested during the week in 3 separate corruption cases. On 4 June 2020, 6 senior Gauteng police officers were among 14 people arrested on corruption charges. 2 other senior officers, now retired, were arrested as well. Among the Gauteng-based SAPS officers charged with corruption, including 3 brigadiers and a retired SAPS Lieutenant General. On 12 October 2020, Lieutenant General Bongani Mgwenya, the country's second most senior police official, was arrested on charge of corruption, fraud, theft and money laundering involving about 200 million and afterwards appeared in Rich Magistrate Court. At the time of Mgwenya's arrest, she and Phahlane were among 14 fellow officers who were charged with corruption. Mgwenya was suspended on 15 October 2020 and was dismissed from SAPS on 13 November 2020. On 23 December 2020, 4 Cape Town police officers attached to the National Border Control Unit at Cape Town International Airport were arrested for extorting money from Chinese businesses. On December 28, 2020, 3 law enforcement officers who were employed by the Emalahleni municipality were arrested in Mpumalanga on corruption and bribery charges, which involved allegations of not issuing standard fines to motorists who committed traffic violations, but instead extorting them for bribes. 2 criminal charges were lodged by the Independent Police Investigative Directorate against the National Police Commissioner Khehla Sithole for refusing to cooperate with its investigation into the murder of Carl Kanye. Kanye was a police intelligence officer investigating organized crime within the SAPS. The South African Police Service says that its workforce has steadily declined over the last 5 years. The SAPS currently has around 184 staff members, with around 39,000 working as civilian employees. In a presentation to Parliament, the police service said it lost a total of 32,662 staff members through natural attrition from 2016 to 2020. Over the same period, it has employed 20,959 employees through new recruits and lateral entrants, resulting in a net loss of 11,703 members. Some of the most common reasons for members exiting the SAPS over the past 5 years include age, ill health, death, better salaries somewhere else, and personal reasons. The SAPS said the decline can also be partially attributed to its early retirement process, with a total of 2,825 employees exited the SAPS through the program without the penalization of pension benefits. The decline of SAPS members was not the only concern raised in Parliament, with issues such as a top-heavy workforce, a lack of resources, and a lack of clear leadership all highlighted as potential issues. It is unsustainable to have a top-heavy SAPS organizational structure which impedes the operational requirements on the ground, said Chairperson of the Parliament Committee on Police. An effective and agile police service requires adequate human resources, especially at the police station level, to render services to people. Jomet Peterson said the committee is concerned that the police-to-population ratio is currently at 1:327, with an increasing ratio every year. While the committee acknowledges the budget reduction for the police, especially in the medium-term expenditure framework, and the potential negative impact it will have on the stability of the SAPS, it remains of the view that a top-heavy structure negatively impacts the agility and ability of the SAPS to be responsive to its mandate. On December 23, 2020, Peter Nzime, the Acting Deputy General Secretary of the South African Policing Union, SAPU, declared that the image of the SAPS was tainted the previous day when Colonel Kalamesh Dalip Singh, a senior SAPU police from KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Anti-Corruption Unit, was arrested and then released on bail on a bribery charge. Nzime criticized the arrest, stating Singh was at the forefront of arresting crooked police officers and was onto a big syndicate. Despite a statement from the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation Hawks spokesperson Captain Simphiwe Mhlongo that undercover Hawks officers caught Singh red-handed accepting a 5,000 bribe, people took to social media to criticize his arrest as well. On December 24, 2020, a video was published showing passengers on a minibus taxi cheering on their driver as he brawled with a police officer in Cape Town following a vehicle crash. Despite the fact that the driver delivered more punches and also spat in the officer's face after the officer attempted to deliver the first punch, the officer was arrested and a test confirmed he was driving under the influence of alcohol and was also charged with reckless and negligent driving. On December 15, 2020, at least one Cape Town area officer stationed in Durbanville had been using taxis to illegally sell alcohol. William Mayer highlights that the collapse of South Africa's criminal justice system poses a greater threat to the country than Eskom and the disintegration of the national power grid. The SA Police Service (SAPS) and the National Prosecuting Authority (NPA) are both dysfunctional, with SAPS largely non-functional. As a result, crime rates have been increasing over the past decade, and victims have stopped reporting crimes due to skewed arrest, prosecution, and conviction outcomes. Eskom's issues themselves are a symptom of unrestrained criminality, with high-ranking African National Congress members complicit in these nefarious networks. South Africa is becoming no country for all men, for everyone but the political and financial elite and their VIP police and private security protection and uninterrupted electricity. Seems like South Africans might have to defend themselves in the near future. Make SAPS great again.
Keep moving!